Hetapu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Haru Nefer. This is Kasank Ma Keparu with another broadcast for you. And in this broadcast, I want to talk about how you need to stop identifying with limitations. But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. It's very important. And if this is your first time to my channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live or when I upload recorded videos. Also, we have free ebooks that will expand on my spiritual teachings and give you a greater understanding of the religion of Asar Aset. Just click on the links below, download them, and you can start reading them today. Also, if you're not already a supporter, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can do so for as little as $1 or $20 per month. You can cancel anytime, no obligation. And you will get exclusive access to instructional videos, videos on the esoteric, videos on how to invoke a spirit, proper breathing techniques, how to do a ritual, videos on hypnosis to become more confident, to attract wealth, a whole lot of good stuff up there. So consider becoming a Patreon supporter, because that will take you to the next level in your journey of seeking an understanding of your divine self. And lastly, please share this video with family and friends so that we can get the revolution started and free the planet. So, namaste to all my magi's. I'm doing a little bit of a late broadcast because I had a message I wanted to get out there. I didn't want to wait till tomorrow to put the message out because I thought it was really, really important. Um, as you know, I counsel people on a daily basis, individuals, couples, corporations, groups, and I try really to explain to them where we're at as a species, where we should have been, and where we're going. It's very important to understand that because so many people, especially in the New Age conspiracy theory arena, are so caught up in this idea of what I call the near future, meaning that they're so concerned and worried that the Illuminati or the ruling elite, we don't know what they call themselves, we'll use the term Illuminati, they're so concerned that the cabal is going to implement a one world government and attempt to depopulate the planet, which is understandable. So they're talking about things like, well, they can see evidence of what they're doing by manipulating the masses, brainwashing us, steering us in a certain direction through social engineering. And they use books like George Orwell's 1984, August Huxley's A Brave New World to illustrate that point. But what I always take it back to, and I want you to understand this too, because this is very important. And this is the issue I have with the conspiracy theory arena. Well, let me just take a step back. Years ago, I was contacted by, David Icke had contacted me, and this is when he wasn't famous at all. And he wanted to know if a friend, myself and a friend, would set up a lecture for him in New York City, because he wanted to get the word out. And we were very interested in what he had to say. His message seemed to be pretty good. But cut to present day, and that was many, many years ago. I think that was like 2001 or something. What I began to realize, what he represented is the old guard. You see, they're going around talking about this near future that's supposed to be coming, New World Order. And what I've tried to tell these individuals over and over again, it is already here. We are living in George Orwell's 1984. We are living in August Huxley, A Brave New World. The New World Order has already been implemented. We are living under their totalitarian rule, and we don't even realize it. See, when you are a victim of mind control, of brainwashing, the first rule of thumb is you don't know you've been brainwashed. You don't know that you have been imprisoned because you think you have freedom. But you see, until you get, it's like the old adage, when you drink from a dirty glass of water, you actually think it's clean until somebody gives you a purified, clean glass of water that you can actually see through. Then you realize you've been drinking dirty water all along. You are a prisoner on this planet. The planet has already transitioned to a new world order. Now, where the cabal, the ruling elite, want to go is just implement the next phase of their plan. But you need to understand that they have won. They are in control. We lost the battle. A long time ago, we lost the battle, but we can still win the war if we're cognizant of the fact that we are drones. We are zombies walking around without an understanding of what is going on. And I want you to understand that. It's very important. You see, because I've always said this, and it's so true. I study mental health. The majority of people on this planet are mentally ill. Number one, they don't realize they're mentally ill. Number two, when you bring that knowledge to them, they deflect, they get defensive, they get angry. But it's the truth. And until you accept that, you can't heal yourself. You are a victim of brainwashing. You are a victim of the ruling elite's oppressive nature. And the thing that they did so beautifully with their plan is to enact the plan without you ever realizing that there was a plan and that it has come to fruition. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Because the person that you are, the person who you are right now, is not the person you should be. Who you are right now is not your greatest version. It pales into comparison of what our ancestors wanted us to be. But we think we're there. And what really disgusts me when I talk to various different people, especially those individuals who think they're so intellectual, so smart, but they're so dumb. See, they believe they're so smart because they have maybe a photographic memory. They know how to regurgitate information verbatim. So they think they're smart. But that's not thinking. That's not using your intelligence. So let me say this to you. We have identified so much with limitation that we have no idea what true power is. We have absolutely no idea what true power is. And most of the people out there, your friends, your family members, your associates, your acquaintances, are pathetic. I'm just going to have to be real with you. Keep it real. They are pathetic. Aleister Crowley, a high magician, when he wanted to do some magic and invoke a spirit, he packed up his bags and moved out to this remote location in England. And he worked for about 6 months to invoke this spirit. Why did he do that? He took various drugs that would get him into trance quicker. Why did he do that? Let me say this again, and I mean this for everyone. You are mentally ill and you don't realize it because you have become so accustomed to dysfunctionalism that you think it's the norm. And it's not the norm. We are living in a society which has flipped the script on us. What is good has become bad, and what is bad has become good. Let me give you a couple of examples. I come home, I walk into my bedroom. My wife is sitting there in a chair, and she's talking to an empty chair. And what's in an empty chair is a spirit. And I can see the spirit. She can see the spirit. She's talking to it, and she's getting counsel from the spirit. Now, anybody seeing this, they would think she's crazy or this is abnormal. But no, this is what you're supposed to be doing. My other wife, she's doing astral projection and she's trying to project her consciousness to a specific period in time, the 1900s, because she wants to meet up with an ancestor, a great grandparent. The other day, I'm lying in bed with my headphones on, and these headphones are they block out external sounds. So I can't hear anything but what's playing in there, which was a meditation. I had a very important meeting that I couldn't miss. The person was coming, and I knew they were going to knock on the door. And somehow I wasn't thinking because I had these noise canceling earphones that I probably would miss the person. So I'm lying in bed, and next thing I know, something picks up my legs and jerks my legs aggressively. And I immediately just sat up and going, whoa. And the next thing I know, my phone rings. And it's a gentleman, and he's standing outside of my apartment. He goes, "Hey, I've been standing here knocking on the door. Haven't you heard me?" I said, "Oh, no, 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 no. I didn't hear you. Sorry." So I go in and let him in. Well, you see, the spirit knew I couldn't hear him. The spirit knew that was an important meeting. So the spirit got my attention by pulling my leg and jerking my leg to get me out of trance so I can go to the door and let that gentleman in. So, what I'm trying to say to you, when you are on this journey, you're supposed to be doing these things naturally. You're supposed to be talking with spirits, commanding demons, time traveling, astral projecting to Sirius A and Sirius B star systems. But in replace of that, you know what we get? The identification with limitation. Because we have individuals who don't know what they're doing and trying to be teachers. One young sister has a channel and she's always talking about some new conspiracy theory and a new movie that she got that she has to decode. Well, in this movie, they did this, so this means this, and now we got this and we got that. Another guy I'm talking to gets into a conversation about the Nubians and Farrakhan. And I'm like, if you are not practicing magic, then you're doing nothing. We are so messed up in the head that we think that reading books, studying, which is good, regurgitating information, being an expert at verbal diarrhea means that you've done something or you're doing something. See, I flagged this many years ago when Dr. Yusuf Ben Jamakadin, Egyptologist, was on a lecture circuit teaching. And I said to Dr. Ben, I had a phone call with him. I said, Dr. Ben, lectures are great, but you realize you're setting us up for failure. I said, when you get on that lecture circuit and you are talking about ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, when you are decoding the Metu Neter, unless you accompany that with the culture, with the knowledge of spirit invocation, with the knowledge of astral projection, with the knowledge of time travel, with the knowledge of invoking spirits and communicating with them. Unless you're bridging that gap and combining the two, you're going to get a people with a very skewed view of the world. And consequently, that's what we have now. Because what you're doing now is you're identifying with limitations. Who's his brother? I forgot this guy's name. Brother Umar of the Nation of Islam. They're a bunch of idiots. Everyone, if you look at those guys, they're all trying to be like Farrakhan. They all speak and think they're saying something profound. And they dress up in their stupid suits, which is all about aesthetics. And that's what we're really about. We're not about substance, which is a 22nd hexagram in the I-ching. We're about aesthetics, looking good, sounding good, but have a gaping hole there that needs to be filled. Well, in the Quran, it says, man shall do this and man shall do that. Okay, well, whatever. That's just words on the paper, whatever. So this one brother comes to me for counseling, and I'm talking to him. He's not connecting with what I'm saying because he's so far removed from the truth. He can't smell it, hear it, feel it, see it. If it were to knock him on side the head with a baseball bat, and I'm trying to tell him something, and all he's caught up in is names, labels, terms, affiliations, and I'm saying, beloved, those things mean nothing. You're not talking about something of true power. You understand? Those things mean nothing. But you've been tricked by Sebek to think that those people, those individuals know something. And because mainstream media legitimizes them, you think that they have something. Let's take, for example, the Maharishi experiment, which was very successful. If you don't know what that is, please research it. It's where the Middle East, they got together over, what is it, 1,000 people who prayed for world peace, and they instantly saw a reduction in terrorism in the Middle East. You had Farrakhan that had the Million Man March, who, of course, since he doesn't have a brain cell, he's going to do things that reveal that he doesn't have a brain cell. So he walks all these guys to Washington, D.C. And what happens there? They just have lectures and they talk. And then at the end of the day, they collect donations. Nothing wrong with that, actually. Pretty good. But what if you had those so-called million men go there and do a deep trance meditation on shifting to a new vibrational frequency to free the planet? What would have happened? Ah, do you see what I'm saying? The difference is between aesthetics and real power. Talking to this brother today, and he's talking to me about, like these different organizations, and I said, brother, I'm not interested in what they want to call themselves or what they want to associate themselves with. Tell me, have they invoked the ancient god so and so? He goes, no. I said, then they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything. They have no power. They don't understand what power is. Because you see, all they want to do is they want to have a leader and they want to follow that leader. The leader just wants to stand up there and espouse some deep knowledge that he thinks he has. And that information, you have access to it as well. And then you're wooed by him. And then you go home and you feel a bit empowered. There is a difference between what I'm showing you and what all of these other clowns are doing. And I'm sorry, maybe I should use the word clowns. But you must understand that I'll go 2, 3 nights without sleep. so that I can prepare my body to go deep into the trance state, to commune with interdimensional beings. While you have all these other guys opening some book and reading to you a scripture or something Muhammad said. There's no power in that. It just makes you feel good, maybe. Oh, Muhammad went to Mecca and he prayed and he got some wisdom. But what does that do for you? Do you understand what I'm saying? What technique is it showing you how to become? And one of the things I had to tell a brother was like, you know, he's talking about, well, I have anger management issues or whatever. I get angry real fast, and but when I read the Quran and read about Muhammad, I become more peaceful. And I'm like, well, let me explain something to you. That's psychosomatic. The only way you can change behavior, the only way you can really make a change is through hypnosis, hypnotherapy, or deep meditation trance. Any lasting change. And then you could go further by using certain mantras or certain binaural beats, frequencies that will help you to purge your body of what triggers the anger. But becoming enlightened by reading a passage out of the Quran or the Bible, that's a very, very temporary fix. And it's not lasting. This is why in this country we have a prison system that's a revolving door system, because no one knows the makeup of the mind. They don't understand how we operate. Stop falling for the okey doke. Stop falling for the okey doke. There are certain principles, certain techniques that work, but being proficient at auditory skills is not going to get you to where you need to go. You are a divine being. Someone asked me this question. They said, "Well, why can't you be around demons for a long time?" Because I said, you're a light being. You're a divine being. You're not going to be hanging with demons who operate on a very low frequency. The nature of who you are will not tolerate that. You want to change your behavior, do your meditation on a full moon, working with certain mantras, and you'll watch that behavior will be gone for good. But sitting up there in a bow tie and a suit, when your so-called leader lives in Chicago, and Chicago is one of the most violent cities in America, please explain to me that. Please explain to me how, so if he has the right teachings, and if his way is a true way, and his way is the true religion of the people, how is it that he's living in a city that's ridden with crime? The death toll rises. That's an indication to you something's wrong. How is it possible that these people who left Europe to come to the New World, brought slaves with them, calling themselves Christian? How is it these people call themselves Christians, yet had slaves? Something didn't. So that tells you something in religion ain't working. It's not working. You are God, man, God, woman. It's not a title. It's not a definition. It's not a label. It's a real, tangible thing. What does that mean? That means that you are endowed with powers similar to God, not in quantity, but in quality, meaning that you don't have as much power as God, but you do have the same powers, but you're not exercising them. You're running around looking for a leader to follow. You're running around happy to read psalms and scriptures, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. What are you doing? You have all this power within you, and every Sunday you go to church and you sit there to hear some guy talk you to death, talk you to sleep. you can do extraordinary things. You can travel to extraordinary places, extraordinary dimensions. But you choose to trap yourself in this physical body. Telling this young girl the other day, she called me up. I'm talking to her, and she's talking about death. There's death in her family, and she's feeling sad, and she doesn't know if there's an afterlife. And I said, well, you really you do understand that the body and the spirit are two different things. At any one time, you can separate your spirit from your body and roam the universe if you wanted to. Go visit Jupiter. Go to Betelgeuse or Betelgeuse, one of the largest suns in our galaxy. But you choose to be trapped in limitation. You accept it. But I don't. I don't accept it. First time I made contact with a spirit, I was elated. I was excited. To me, a whole new world had opened up because I had, number one, proof there was life after death. There was an afterlife, and I had committed myself to now searching for a way to open up a broader form of communication with the spirit world. I was so excited. But all we do daily is walk around, talk about we're oppressed and this and that and that and this. Meanwhile, I'm trying to show you that there's a different way, a different path, one of empowerment, one that you could see wonders. And that when you're in this form, which is your true form is consciousness, you experience no hunger, you experience no pain, you experience no sadness. And then you know what? I actually think that some people deserve to be oppressed. Because when you go along with the status quo and you go along with this system, knowing full well you have all these powers, then you become the problem. You become the problem. My hypnotherapist teacher says, Kasank, we're going to be teaching in March, and we're going to be teaching another advanced level of hypnotherapy. And I want to get you in that class. And when I get you in that class, I'm going to certify you. And I said, well, okay, great. How much is it? He says it's $1,000. I said, count me in. I don't need to think about that. I don't need to ponder that. I don't need to read a scripture about that because I know what hypnosis can do, how powerful it is. I go and I tell people, you know what, just get on Patreon, $1 a month. You get a lot of good content. And I still I have people still contemplating it. I'm like, what is your problem? Either you want power or you don't. When I found out that there was a teacher in the Midwest teaching Kujikiri, the Japanese form of black magic, I went to my friend and I said, will you move with me and see if we can be accepted as students? He says, I'm packing my bags. I'll be ready tomorrow. Is that good enough? I said, you darn right. And we got on that plane in the dead of winter, went to him and said, take me as your student. Teach me the sacred art of Kujikiri. I didn't contemplate that for any time period because I knew there was power in that. And I was tired, frankly, of getting my ass kicked by life. I said, no, there got to be a better way. You're not supposed to be living like this. We're not supposed to be living like this. Limited, narrow minded, myopic in our viewpoints. That's not how we're supposed to be living. But if you all want to live that way, that's fine with me. But this train is going. You can jump aboard or you can wish us well. But the one thing I'm going to tell you is stop contemplating, stop thinking it, and above all, stop getting jerked off. Enough with the intellectual masturbation. If you notice that these people who are telling you about these conspiracy theories, telling you about flat Earth, telling you about the Anunnaki and all this all garbage, they don't have any real knowledge. They don't really know how to invoke a spirit. They don't know how to communicate with a spirit. In fact, if a spirit ever manifested in front of them, they'd be terrified. They'd run for the hills because it's so far removed from their regular reality because they've already accepted limitations. 60th hexagram of the I-ching, limitations. Sekert, goddess Sekert, she stands for obstructions and limitations. And sometimes those limitations are good because they'll help you stretch your spiritual muscle and make you better. But you guys are living comfortably with limitation. I don't get that. You're fine with it. You know, you're fine with it. I Ching told me, Kasant, this year you're gonna have ET contact. I said, "Oh, I'm down with that. Give me information. Let me know what I need to do." I Ching says they'll contact you. You just wait. I didn't think about this. I didn't go read sci-fi books. See, there is those who want to read, but and there are also those who want to apply the knowledge. And the thing that you can't mess around with magic because magic is not a one size fits all. It's not a cookie cutter system. It's very personalized. What spells and incantations or mantras that work for me may not work for you. Magic works best when you test it through trial and error. This is why many high level magicians will not share with you their book of shadows. They will not share with you their techniques until you become an apt or an initiate and study with them for a very long time. Why would they just share everything that's taken them many years and testing, trial and error to perfect? Why would they want to just give that to you? So I'm telling you, if you want to embark on this journey, you have to make the commitment and start doing it right away and stop making up all these stupid excuses. Oh, I'm waiting for the moon to turn pink. I'm waiting for Trump to get out of office. You're just BSing. Belief system. You have a wrong belief system. You have to take the bull by the horns. Be motivated and go for it. If I say I put a video up on Patreon that shows you how to turn regular paper trash into money, everyone should be up there trying to get that video, learn that technique. You know, people slow. I'll get to it tomorrow, next day. I send magical kits to people. I said, well, did you do the ritual? Oh, I'm going to do it next week. What are you playing around now? You're playing around. And you wonder why you don't see results because the spirits are not going to work with you because your ass is lazy. You lukewarm. Get that fire under you. Let me explain something. If you go into this sincerely, with a good heart, the ancestors will bless you more than you can ever imagine. First off, they'll protect you from your so called enemies, and then they will start to open the way for you for prosperity. And they don't ask much. Stop reading about them. and start working with them. Big difference. Now, I'm not saying that reading and studying is wrong. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying there has been too much of that been promoted in our communities to the detriment of actually working these things. When I talk to other people in spiritual communities, I say, what's the main mantra you work with? They go, huh? Mantra? What do you mean? I'm like, all right, well, did you do a reading on whether you should go and get that job or not? They go, what's the reading? I'm like, and they're like, well, I really wanted to understand what our ancestors went through in chattel slavery. So hey, bro, I just got this new book by Francis Davis, and it talks about what happened. And I said, well, did you do hypnosis session where you transfer your consciousness back to slavery to experience firsthand what it's like to be a slave? You can do that? Yeah, you can time travel. Consciousness does not exist in any one fixed point in space and time. You are here and you are everywhere. You don't need to read the book. You can re-experience it firsthand. You want to know what it was like to live in Kemet as a pharaoh, as a king, as a queen? Transfer your consciousness back in time to that period and you will experience it. No, we go to the bookstore or Amazon. This book, oh, well, this book is about Pharaoh Tutmosis III. And it says here, and this, and that, and that, and this. And I'm like, oh, all right, all right, all right, okay, whatever. And let me kick this science to you guys. Let me kick this to you. Those books that you're reading on Akhenaten, Tutmosis, Hatshepsut have been edited to remove the aspects of magic from them because the ruling elite doesn't want you to know that the pharaohs, that the kings, the queens were magicians and they practiced magic heavily. So what they do is they revert back to left brain thinking, which is to give you books that just present time, dates, factual incidences, wars. But where's the magic? I knew when I first got into priesthood and I read my first book on the pharaohs, and they said the pharaoh told his general, and the general said, "We're going to war." And then they went to war, and I said, "That's bull. That's bullshit. That's not how it worked." No general or pharaoh back then would have just said, "Let's go to war," and they went to war. The pharaoh would have went to the priesthood, and the priesthood would have did a reading and say, "Will we win this war if we go to war?" And based on that reading, they would go back and inform the pharaoh if he should take his army into battle. And then, if they decided, yes, we're going to take our army into battle, then the priesthood would get together, and then they would slaughter how many sheep, how many cows as sacrifices, and get the right herbs, and then do all this stuff to perform a ritual so that they could be successful before the war even started. They would implement the magic before the war ever started. So the opposing forces, the minute they showed up on the battlefield, had lost because the magic was going to take care of them. But this is what they removed out of the books because they don't want you to know that magic was an intrinsic part of everything they did in Kemet. But all you're doing is reading about dates, times, historical events, and you think that's accurate. You see what I'm saying? Because you've been conditioned to accept limitation. You think it's okay for the pharaoh to just say, let's go to war, and the general goes along with that. You think that's okay. You think that's the way it's supposed to be. No, it's not. I told you that before the Japanese hit Pearl Harbor, they went to the I-ching and said, when should we attack? From where should we attack from? The north, the south? And what time we should attack? And the I-ching gave them the information. That's normal. That's what you should be doing. But because the society is so backwards, they make it seem odd that you would even consult an oracle on something like that. This country has a high failure rate when it comes to divorce. But if you were to do a reading on the mate you're thinking about marriage, then you would have nothing to worry about. But we don't do that. We just see somebody, they make us feel good, they make us horny, and we say, oh, I'm going to marry him or her. Then that person turns out to be a nightmare for you. But if you had consulted an oracle, the oracle would have warned you of that. You understand what I'm saying? This is how you accept limitations. This is how you give up your divine legacy, your heritage of being God man, God woman, by going along with the status quo, by going along with this insane asylum. I knew a long time ago. I said, you know what? There's this thing called racism. So I wanted to go for these contracts, and I knew that typically they would probably hire somebody who was white because they're just conditioned. Not that they're bad people; they're just conditioned to see anything as black or multiracial, whatever, as inferior. So before when I would walk into the meeting, I would put them under trance hypnosis, and I would woo them and get the contract because I wanted to have that edge, that advantage. And when I put them into trance, they no longer was thinking to the left brain, which is the origin of racism. And they saw my skills and not the color of my skin. But you guys just want to walk in there and do your thing and hope, pray to God that something good will happen or go your way. I don't work like that. I don't work like that. I'm sorry. I have troubles on the set with production people. I get into an argument with my producer, and me and him argue a lot. So what I say is, I'm going to manifest a new producer. I'm going to do a ritual, vibrationally shift to a new parallel world where he's different. He's kind. He's nice. He's amendable. You know. No, you guys say, oh, we got to go to conflict resolution. We got to go to HR. That's not how you're supposed to be doing things in life, man. Your mate get out of pocket, start acting all weird and funky. Sit down and meditate and see him doing the right things. See her doing the right things. Don't chastise them. Don't talk them to death. Don't yell at them. Just sit down and meditate and see them working with you harmoniously and watch the change happen. Dedicate yourself 2020 to being the God man and God woman you are meant to be. Let me say that again. Dedicate 2020 to being the God man, God woman you are meant to be. Dedicate 2020 to the pursuit of magic and make that above all else in your life. Who comes before magic in my life? My wives? My family? Nada. Nothing. Because when you put magic at the forefront, that's putting God at the head of your life because magic is God. that is God. And nothing should usurp that authority in your life. In fact, sometimes I think I'm a little crazy about magic because I take things to the extreme. Yes, I do. I go up into mountains, I meditate, I stay there too long, come back home, I meditate more, do a ritual, spend a lot of time doing the ritual, forget about other things, because I have a passion for power. I have a passion for spirituality, and I pursue that. I don't have no passion to be in no stupid suit with the bow tie. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Or be some pimp pastor on the pulpit. I ain't got no passion for that. That's a waste of my time. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, you've been communicating with the spirit Bazar, and he's been giving you money and granting you your wishes. Oh, okay, let's talk. Tell me how to invoke Bazar because I want to work with him. Now we're talking. Now we're cooking. But don't come to me with stupid stuff. Well, you see, we are the original Aborigines of North America, so we are entitled to a piece of land, and we come from a certain tribe. That's all nonsense. That's all nonsense. And you know what? The thing that kills me is people walk around thinking they got some power because, I don't know, they know that stuff. That's not no power. That's some foolishness. And it doesn't hold up in court. Many people have tried to bring that into court saying, well, because I'm an original Aborigine or original native of the North America, I should not be able to pay taxes. Yeah, try that, try that. And they have, and they don't fly. They don't fly. A young woman got shot down by the police trying to pull that crap. She got pulled over in her car by the police, and then she starts mouthing off about her rights as one of the first people here in North America, and took her daughter or son to her house and staked out camp there and had a gun, and just take things too far with the foolishness. Your passion is directed in the wrong way. Your passion is directed at something that has no power for you. So why is your passion there? You understand? Why are you following these jokers? They have no power. If they had power, then the world would be a different place, and I'd be following them. You know what I mean? Show me that you can invoke Bazar. If you show me that you can do that, then I want to work with you. Show me you can vibrationally shift to a different time period, then I want to work with you. But don't come with this scripture and book nonsense and the prophetic word and follow Jesus, Joshua, and Mary and this nonsense. All right, let's see what Hawkeye has to say. Let's say someone was working on a movie and have a movie wrote down and have everything drawn and has their own set. Who would take? Who would he take it to? Where would he go to get it started? I'm not really understanding your question. Um, but typically, what you do is you shoot the film, and then you would have screenings and invite the different heads of the acquisition department from the studios, and they would bid on your film. So, I'm not really sure of your question, but that's how the process works. Um, so, and hopefully, which the thing that you want to get into is a bidding war, meaning that they would be bidding and you would take the highest offer. and it's a lucrative position to be in. But first, you got to put up a lump sum of money to shoot the film, and films are very expensive. So, but luckily, the technology has come up to the level of where it doesn't take a lot of money to shoot a film on par with Hollywood effects and Hollywood production value. So that's what's good about the age we're living in. And because you're a magi, you can manifest the money you need to make the film. You understand what I mean? You don't have to run around seeking investors. You can have the investors come to you. And that's something I used to teach actors too. I said, stop running around chasing after casting directors and agents. Do the ritual and watch. They will appear at the right time and at the right place. And much to their credit, those actors did do the rituals. They did the work. And a lot of them got the deals that I promised them they would. And actors naturally have um, they emote. They have a lot of emotion. They're passionate, and because they already come equipped like that, that's really good for performing magic and performing rituals. It becomes a powerful combination. That's why they were able to get those things rather quickly, while you may magi, it may take a little bit longer because you're not attuned to that type of emotion. But if you're like a Pisces, and Pisces are very emotional creatures, it may come natural to you. Because magic is a lot about emotions. It's a lot about emoting. Because when you're trying to manifest something, what do we say? Focus on your highest excitement. Because the highest excitement is what raises the chi or the kundalini energy. And you need that chi energy to channel it into your magic, into your objective, to draw it to you. This is why you should never be trying to attract through the law of attraction, through reality transurfing, through whatever, something you're not passionate about. And the trick is you have to be passionate about it in order to manifest it, but you can't be too passionate about it. Because if you're too passionate about it, for example, there's a girl I like, I really want her to be my third wife. And I'm really thinking about her a lot. I can't stop thinking about her. What you have done is you put her out of reach. You now believe you can't manifest her because she's not on your league. You're not in the same league as her. She's out of your league or whatever, or you're out of her league. So you've got to temper that. You got to have that right mixture of where you're in the middle. And this is called freedom from outcome, meaning you're not tied to the specific outcome of something to make you happy. You're okay getting it and you're okay not having it. Hetepu, namaste, ghost. See, magic is very powerful, but it takes time to become proficient at it. But when you do, it's netchum. It's beautiful because you can see it work in your life. Of course, when it starts to work in the beginning, you'll attribute it to coincidence, synchronicity. Oh, that just happened. It doesn't mean anything. But as you work it more and more and you see that when you do a ritual, there's an instant result, then you'll know you got power. And then you'll stop the foolishness. You'll stop teeter-tottering and you'll get focused and you'll say, I want more power. I've tasted blood and I like it. Give me more. Gordon Gekko, Wall Street. Greed is good. In some cases, greed is good. Greed is good when you want to be a magician, when you want to be God. So you get involved in all the spiritual practices. There is I forgot his name offhand, but he wrote a book. He is a warlock, a witch, however you want to call him. He's into the occult. He was accused of a crime he didn't commit, and he was sentenced to life in prison. They asked him, well, how did you deal with being in solitary confinement for that period of what, 20, 25, 30 years? In solitary confinement, meaning that he was in a cell that was probably the size of a closet. He said, I was fine with it. He said, because I was doing my rituals. He says, every day I would wake up, I had a goal of what ritual I was going to do, and I performed it and went back to sleep and woke up, and he looked forward to it every day. That's what got him through. And he was eventually, um, I shouldn't say acquitted, but he was let go. He had to plead guilty, but they let him go. And he attributes that to his magic and his rituals. That's what you've got to be like. You've got to be passionate about it. When you come home from work, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to do a ritual. I come home, my mate says, what do you want to do? I said, I'm going to do a ritual. She goes, no, let's have sex. I go, no, I want to do a ritual. She goes, I hate you, Kasang. And then we meet each other halfway. Let's do a sex ritual. Yeah, that's how you do it. And here's the beauty of this. I'm going to leave you guys with this. When you start working your magic consistently, you're going to shift to you're going to shift to a totally different earth, a totally different world where magic is common, where paranormal events are common. You're going to shift. You're going to leave that old planet, that old earth, that old way of life behind, and you're going to live in a very wondrous, magical world where extraordinary things happen in your life. I tell people, we all don't live in the same reality. We live in different space-time continuums. And the reality that I live in is very, very heavily filled with paranormal events. And once you get that ball rolling, it starts going. You invoke one spirit, then suddenly, knock at the door, there's two or three other spirits who want to talk to you. They're like, hey, Hawkeye, I heard you were talking to Bazar. Well, that's kind of cool. We want to talk to you too. You let those three in, another knock at the door. Hey, mind over matter. I'm from this very far off dimensional plane, and I heard that you can talk to spirits. Let's talk. I need some company. And, I'm being funny, but that's the truth of how it works. Because when you open that door, other beings notice that you can do that, and they want to talk with you. Nothing to be afraid of. I mean, it is. I'm not gonna lie. It is a bit frightening at first, but after you change your drawers from peeing on yourself, then it's all good, and you start to welcome them into your life. Spirit did something for me. I thanked the spirit. I said, "Thank you." I always recognize that and show respect to them. And that's one of the reasons why I left the priesthood, because I didn't think we respected the gods. We treated them like they were like just characters in a book. I said, no, they're real entities. We're not respecting them. So I want you to think about this and what I've said. And it's in no way meant to chastise you all, because you all are very good magi's. But it's really just to say 2020 is here. What is your focus? What is your focus? Did we do a reading? Does anybody know we did a reading for 2020? I thought we did, but let's do a reading and see what the magi's need to focus on for 2020. I thought we did one, but we'll do it now. So the question is going to be, what do the magi's need to focus on for the new year? Probably all set, dedication and devotion. Let's see what we got. Ma'atetep, living truth. My mother. So the counsel for the Magi's for 2020 is to live truth, balance, reciprocity, the law, not man's law, but divine law. And if you watched the previous broadcast I did, I showed you guys the book called Ma'at, the 11 Laws of the Spirit. you should get that book by Ra'unefa Amen. And living truth means understanding that you are God man, God woman, and start to practice and strengthen your magic within you. Let me see if there's any questions in the chat room before I go. Okay. Oh, Hatapu, standing in awe, gracefully. Hatapu, how are you? So mind of a matter. Yeah. What's the question you have? What's your question specifically? You think about when listening to a podcast. Okay. Yeah, that was an ancient Kemet ghost. It was. It was 40 years in ancient Kemet. Because they were intense back then. They really, yeah, it was really, really intense. Actually, when I got in the priesthood here, I thought they had the same thing. I thought it was gonna be 40 years. So any other questions? You guys know it's full moon, right? Coming up. Do your meditations. Full moon. That means your spirit is open and receptive to being programmed. So if you're looking to achieve an objective, whether it be to get into a relationship, to get more money, a better job, the best time to do that is now, to meditate during this full moon cycle. And when you do it, you'll notice that when you do your meditations and your rituals during a full moon, you'll see quick and immediate results if you do it right. So think about that. Lastly, if you don't already have a Kemetic name, think about getting a Kemetic name. Go to yourkemeticname.com and you can read all the details about what's involved in that. Kemetic name is your mantra. It brings you luck. It gets you focused on your destiny. Ghost, that's a really good question you have there. That's a really good question. What is the different levels of priesthood? So there are different levels of priesthood. There's things that we call as a Shechem, an Abman, a Sahu person. So you will need to understand the Kemetic tree of life to understand the different levels. And there's a book called The Tree of Life by Ra'unefa Amen, and it shows you the 33 degrees of the climbing and descending to achieve certain levels of priesthood. And as I said, those levels are your Sahu, your Ab, and your Shechem. All right. So yeah, think about that. So anyway, I want to thank you all for tuning in. And if you get an opportunity, do not forget to donate to the channel. Your donation is always appreciated, and it helps me to write more ebooks and publish more papers. And if you go to Patreon right now, there is a free article up there which talks about the Hotep hustlers. And it's a really good article I wrote, if I must say so myself, which really exposes those frauds in the Hotep community who are robbing people, who are lying about their credentials and their backgrounds. None of them are really priests. They just read some books and they can espouse some information. So check that article out. It's free on Patreon. And yeah, and get your Kemetic name, man. It takes a little while. So sign up as soon as you can, because I work with the ancestors. I work with the Oracle to get you your Kemetic name, because as I said before, it is a powerful mantra. And when people call you by your Kemetic name, it gives you chi energy. It gives you strength. And that's what you want. This is Kasak Ma Keparu, son of Ma and Tahuti. My aunt is the beautiful goddess Hedaru. Until my next broadcast, I'm in Ra.